After scampering to the restroom, 37-year-old Janet plopped her now half-naked body onto the toilet. All of the day's bullshit was rapidly released from her quivering, sweaty body. Once she came to, a panic overcame her. She had forgot to lift the lid, and now there was a rather gooey mess sandwiched between her and the toilet. "Fuck," she mumbled. After wondering what she was going to do for about 4 minutes, she peeled her body from the toilet seat and wadded a whole roll. She looked at the mess with disgust. A gag came from within. "Janet, are you in there?" Janet's husband, Trey, was in need of the restroom stat. "Be right out," she bellowed. "Fuck," she thought as she quickly smeared the ever-worsening mess all over the seat. "Fuck it." She gave up and left the bathroom. Trey went in and missed the fouled seat as he sprayed his piss all over the wall because the light was turned off. When he came out, Janet had hung herself with a telephone cord. As little Timothy held his ear pressed firmly on the gymnasium floor, much like an Indian listened for the mighty buffalo, he could hear the other kids' footsteps amplified. Timothy had been learning of Squanto, the famous Indian, in his social studies class, where he unfortunately sat next to a bully named Dennis. Every day while he was needlessly getting punched and kicked by Dennis, he would gaze longingly at Marcia. Marcia was a dreamy girl, rather plump to some, but in his eyes she was perfect. Her waddle did something to him that kids this age should not feel yet. As he lay there with his ears suction-cupped to the glossy floor, he heard Marcia let out an angry fart from across the gymnasium. She was sitting on the floor over in the corner with some of her friends. He lay there, his heart thumping so loud it sounded like footsteps on the cold gym floor. It was his happy spot. He could hear his love passing gas. Dennis lay over the body of Timothy with his fist still suspended in midair, jaw dropped. He had just socked Timothy so hard in his face for no reason, and as Timothy lay there passing on, Marcia's embarrassing fart was the only sound in the gymnasium. The chocolate crumbs were still landing upon little Jenny Reynolds' blouse. "Damn little thief," thought her mother as she sadly picked up what was left of the rich batch of brownies that she had carefully made for her Christmas party. "Why in blue blazes couldn't you have snuck the stale tortillas?" Jenny's mother had cleverly hidden the tortillas behind the milk so that she would remember to buy new ones. Now that her hand was pulsating cherry red from beating the fleshy part of Jenny's rump, she screamed, "You're not even brown, you little bitch. Why would you want brownies? And just because I used Reynolds Wrap to cover them, it does not mean they are yours." Then she put the 1-year-old back in her crib and stormed out, locking the door solidly. Jenny fell asleep that night with tears flowing from her eyes like a river. She had to sleep on her stomach because her backside stung. The end. As the snot dripped from her nose, 5-year-old Jessica Marie stormed into her classroom. The portly child wheezed as she battled her way through the maze of fit children and found her desk. Jessica had no friends, but she was content. Several rats were kept in her knapsack. They kept her company. Slap! Charlie, the class asshole, gave her a horrid smack right across the back of her head. Fat, Jessica, the fat pig bitch," he taunted. Soon the entire class was in on it. The teacher, Mrs. Shelby, even smirked and pointed. Tears welled up in Jessica's eyes and she stood up, kicked Charlie right in his dick, and ran out of the room, leaving her rats. When she returned, the rats were feasting on the bodies that they had given the plague. Jessica smiled, flipped the bird, and then triumphantly waddled home. Lost at Sea, Day 121. I was laying there, staring at the night sky, when something bumped my raft. I gasped. I'm miles from the closest object, I thought to myself, my foot gracefully being pulled out of the water. Adjusting my eyes in the dark, I could see the faint outline of a circle, bobbing up and down on the mellow waves. Holy crap! I cried out in the dark. Is it really you? I lunged off of my raft and gallantly swam towards the circle. Much to my dismay, when I arrived at the floating object, I found it was just a volleyball with a handprint on it. Why the heck would there be a volleyball all the way out here, I wondered. I am extremely far from any sort of gymnasium. I brought the ball back with me to my raft and climbed aboard, not asking permission to do so because it was my ship. I sat there in a daze, pondering for a good 7 hours about the ball and its use among the fish and other various wildlife of the sea. I could not figure it out. It seems I heard someone yelling for Wilson. Why would someone be yelling for Wilson way out here, in the middle of nowhere? I gave up and went to sleep. Several days later, I found myself near an island. It had been quite some time since I had stepped foot on dry land, so I began towards it. Upon arrival, it was clear I was not the only person here. There was what appeared to be some sort of shelter and a lot of FedEx boxes. Why are there FedEx boxes literally everywhere? I questioned. Almost mad with loneliness, I began to search for the other person. Hopefully, he was friendly. After a month of searching, I gave up. Whoever was here must be long gone. Oh well, they got rescued. I'm sure someone will be here shortly. That was 10 years ago, and my only company is this stupid dumb ball who claims he knows the way off of the island. Why the heck would a ball know that? I can't figure it out.